Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Hello, Sam. Welcome back to episode
Good
2.
evening, everybody.
Oops. There we go. I had to mute my own Twitch because I'm so professional that I
Pro
had
streamer.
my own voice coming from my own Twitch. That's fantastic. I'm very good at this. Right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of A Matter of Life and Death campaign. For those that are new to this is a Cyberpunk 2020 tabletop sort of RPG campaign. And tonight I am with Smirk, Chris, and Cine Chris, and Cross Terminal. Say hello if you want.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, pro streamer, exactly, Parky. I'm a pro streamer. Um,
He's so pro.
oh, thank you for the sub, Sam. Right, out of the bat. Last week we introduced everybody and everything into this world. Our players got into a very secretive investigation agency called Omega, and after a little bit of discovering what Omega is and what Omega could offer, and trying to see if the new potential agent could be interested in joining, we delved into knowing each other a little bit more, knowing a bit more about this super secret agency that apparently existed for the last 40 years. Well, the building was empty for the last 40 years, and the company probably ran around the last 25 years, but nobody knows the existence of this company. And yes, we got immediately the start of the with a new day, a new task, and we just started this new task. And our new agents found out that there is a TV and media preacher that is his name is, where is he gone? Sorry guys, one sec.
Socrates Dracos.
Socrates Dracos, exactly.
It's in the chat.
Is in the chat. Yes, thank you. Socrates Dracos in the chat is one of the most prominent TV preacher, and is the leader of the Church of Divine Enlightenment. They predict the end of the world in old-fashioned ways, but Omega feels that there is much more behind this cult, this religion, and his activities in reality are much more deep into organized crime of different levels. And the first task that our agents has been assigned to is to investigate the recent death of a man called Trevor Bassett. He has been found in an alley without his legs, and some of the leads of this modus operandi says that basically it could be a side activities of Dracos to harvest implants for gearing up his soldiers of this church to bring the world into a better place of his imagination. So there is a general feel that Socrates is using a lot of the gangs of Night City to do his biddings while he keep his face almost, I would say, clean. And this is probably one of the case. The body has been found in the North Side district, and it is a district controlled mostly by a gang called the Slaughterhouse. And they are quite, as the name suggests, they are quite brutal in their activities. They don't hide what they do. Let's say that. So we are still here now with our characters, our agents, Brandon, Jakub, and Vern, still in the offices of Omega after the initial debrief of the situation. Um, the boss, Roman, is informing you that you have a computer assigned to you as well as a table and a desk, so to do like office jobs and researches that you can potentially use to ease your investigation. And he suggests probably to start by doing some researches of the Northside District area in general and about the gang that controls it. So that's probably the first uh, potential task that he suggests to you to do. Second one is of course visiting the crime scene and see what you can find about that. So let's start in order with Brandon.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is the next day after the day
Yes, it's the
we
day
met,
after
right?
your
Yeah, yeah,
recruitment. Yes.
sure. Okay, in that case, Brandon's appearance is very different than yesterday. Realizing what line of business he's in, he's instead of his high fashion look, he's got an urban flash jacket which has some LEDs on the back which alternate between like orange, red, and blue that rotate in like a loading circle, almost like a
Okay.
LED version of the Apple loading balloon
Okay.
on his back of the back of his jacket, and his hair's down today. No high ponytail for him.
No ponytail. Back
No, so all
to
his
the
long hair
business
just
today.
down. Yeah. As for what I guess, so we're all together.
Yeah, you are on the
Yeah.
same. You are on the same floor in almost adjacent. I will not say cubicles. It's more an open space type. Imagine one of the um, police station. It's like open space, lots of tables, computers, and everybody is doing their own business. The other agents are doing desk work and other things, and you have almost an island dedicated to you guys with your station for desk jobs, basically. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, I guess Brandon had turned to the other members in his crew and say, look, I mean, it seems to be a gang. Anyone here have any gang sort of knowledge or connections? I mean, I can, if I had the corpse itself or any sort of tools, I might be able to look at it. But
uh, well, I'm gonna add some details to that as well before anybody can drop in the point. You've been giving each of you, of course, a login into the terminals, and the operating system that runs these computers is linked to several data banks that you can research things on. They come with either um, fragments of news or more like a sort of, I will say, a Wikipedia, but written better in this case, specifically for like police and other agency like you. Basically tapping in into other people's resources without them letting be known about.
so would we have access to the coroner's report if it was reported to the police?
More than likely, yes, but you need probably a little bit probably the skills of like I don't know Chris to just navigate the deep menus and sub menus and everything else.
Oh yes, leave it to me.
Sure. I mean, like if you get the stuff, I can have a look at it, but I
Okay.
can't get it.
And what about you, Vern, as well? If you have anything you want to research in particular?
Um, actually, if see, I don't want to throw out that Vern has connections with
Okay.
any, you know what I mean, agencies quite yet, but like if there's a means to access the files for that area, and maybe patrols that are averted from that area, where the police turn a blind eye because we know where they're working from then. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, actually defer to Jakob, basically, whatever he can pull up that would give us information about what the investigation on the police side has gotten. And then camera feed potentially of that time if we have any video in that area and where those people may have gone afterwards.
Okay. So we can start, and this is gonna be a first with a dice roll. Yeah.
Yay!
Whoa!
Pushing the
Whoa.
boat out.
Dice hype, dice hype.
So let me double check a second because I need to access a second your character sheet, Jakub, because I need to
I mean, if
understand
I'm
which
the
are
one
the
doing
skills
it.
that I needed. So without spoiling anything to anybody, I just need a little bit of, And it is gonna be a test of. Mm,
So if I
oh
open this, it
God.
won't show up for you, will it? No.
Yeah, basic tech.
Let me have a
I mean,
glance through.
we can start with basic tech to try to operate in the system. Yes, a dice roll is under
Yeah,
technical skills.
it would be basic tech, wouldn't it? Because it wouldn't
Yes.
be security. Sweet. Oh right, I need to actually open my character sheet, don't I? Then I can click the rolls. It's great.
Yeah, we can
Roll
roll a
20 is such a
dice.
fantastic system. Where are we?
It should be, yeah, technical skills. Yes.
Basic tech. Boom.
Yeah.
Modifier?
It's a +5.
Oh boy. Oh. Wait, what?
That didn't work
That
very
didn't work
well.
out.
Yeah,
Did
that's
that
it.
not work at all?
How'd you
Well,
roll a -5?
Yeah, how did I roll?
I don't know.
Oh, it's double bloody positive. It's turned into a negative, isn't it?
Oh yeah, so
Let me try that again, just so
okay.
I understand
we are
the
we
way
are
it works.
so
So
good at this.
it's the modifier is just 5, isn't it?
Yes.
There,
Oh,
that's
that's
better.
it. That's it. Okay.
Much better.
Much better. Well, 26 over there instead of a 0.
-5.
-5
Yeah, well,
because
no,
we are that good.
just an FYI, that's 1d10.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic.
Jakob has no skill.
Epico has no skill.
What do you mean
So,
no skill?
your initial logging in into the system, you find quite a familiar type of interface. You've been seeing it in other system you accessed in the past, and it's quite easy for you to navigate into the different menus, sub-menus, and such other things. So the first things you pop in is, of course, the map that you see over here. The large map is basically the entire map of the North Side district, which is, if you see on the mini map, is labeled as 8A2. So the body, you know that has been found at number 6 of the map. Number 6 is a pub, an Irish pub.
I might have presumed that the body's already been taken to the morgue and everything.
Yeah, the body is, of course, being taken to the
do we
morgue.
have access to it?
You don't have currently the access to the body itself, but you can access through the menus to the morgue report.
We should probably pull that up then.
Yeah, so the name of the pub is O'Flaherty Tavern, number 6, and the body has been found in an alley next to it. The person that was the victim, Trevor Bassett, used to be working as a janitor at the church in front of it, number 4. The church is the Holy Angels Church. And the victim itself is a former soldier that lost both his legs in an ambush when he was in war zone, and no longer fit for service, and mentally scarred by the accident, he decided to retire, of course, and dedicate himself to help others as a assistant in the church, doing very humble jobs and helping here and there where he could. Um, it has been a very well beloved person in the environment of the church. He has been loved by everybody that was in, and he helped quite a lot of people. So see him dead in an alley like that actually scarred a little bit the nuns that runs the church, and also the priests that are in there as well.
So he had no enemies then.
Uh, as far as you can tell by this report, it seems that he was very well beloved, so there's no enemy in there.
So it was a random act of violence.
It feels like it is a random act of violence, yes.
Right.
You were looking, Vern, to the morgue report, isn't it? You wanted to have a look at that, or who wanted to have a look
I
at the
wanted to have a
morgue?
look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I want to pull
Jakob.
that up.
yeah, Jakob. The morgue report tells you basically that both legs has been completely severed from the body.
Yeah, and we saw the
You saw the
images of that
pictures,
last week.
yes. And
Yeah, or last night.
yeah, although there was no additional bleeding more than the one, of course, you can imagine. So they've been cauterized properly. It has been done in a very rough way. It feels like there is been some sort of laser knives, but uh, not used very well. So probably not from a competent person.
Is a cause of death recorded?
The cause of death is unknown in terms of there is no fight. There has not been any sort of uh, bullet being shot or anything else. It has been simply. It might seems that the cause of death is loss of blood and shock from the limbs amputation.
Were the legs removed before or after point of death?
One would assume before because loss of blood.
Yes, it was done before. More than likely,
He
it
could
has
be
been
losing blood
done.
elsewhere.
Yeah. At the moment of the amputation, the subject was still alive.
So no sign of struggle or
No sign of
fighting, but the
struggle.
legs were removed while he was.
Yes.
So
Was he drugged?
no other potential damage but that? Like
No.
no bruising.
No other bruises. And to answer Jakob, the toxicology has very faint traces of anesthetics in the blood.
Right.
Is there any tests out for the source or origin of those? Like, is it like cheap street stuff
It
cut with
is.
stuff, or
It feels like it has been used a sedative of animal origin, like to sedate large animals in quite a big quantity. But by the time that the body has been found, the presence in the blood has been diluted in time because it's been found potentially 10 hours after. So that's what you gathered from the morgue report at the moment.
So potentially, okay, we're going to be able to go on the ground investigating anyway, right?
Yes.
I would want to be investigating the scene of the crime
Yeah, same.
and the surrounding area,
Okay.
yeah.
and maybe
Um,
question some of the people in the church.
Yep.
Inspector Moore's question, like just one more thing.
Yes.
What did it look like the sedatives were administered? Are there marks of injection, or was it in
It
the
feels that
stomach?
there should be a little hole at the base of the neck,
Okay, cool.
sort of injection at the base of the neck.
So somebody approached him from behind,
Yes.
jabbed it in, and
and made it lie on the floor,
He went to
cut his
sleep.
leg,
Yeah.
cut his legs, and then left him there bleeding until it was too late. Also, in addition to that, of course, the shock of limb loss and everything else. Even if, of course, there were mechanical limbs, it's still, connected to your body. And if the job is done badly,
Which it was.
yeah, which it was
Yeah.
clearly, that happens. So the additional information you gather is, of course, for what is what the slaughterhouse is. So among the many booster gangs that are in the North Side district, the slaughterhouse are considered the worst of the bad news. Specializing in rippers, vampires, yes, we have vampires in this world, apparently, and any other cybernetic implant that is long and has sharp edge. So they are very big fans of blades in general. Most hardcore members skirt the edge of cyberpsychosis and will kill at moment's notice. If not for a lack of initiative, the Slaughterhouse would be the most dangerous gang in the city. Freely committing crimes ranging from armed robbery to first-degree murder. So that's not very nice for you to, approaching this area, knowing that this gang basically runs it like his own back
So
garden.
we're not going to go in rolling through looking to find the gang immediately. We need to avoid confronting them directly.
Potentially, that's a very good idea, yes. So, whenever you feel that you are ready to direct yourself to the North Side District, you can collect your equipment for the day from the reception. Because you're not going to go on the outside without any preparation. So tell me when you are ready, guys, and if you want to
Yeah,
do other
I'm
researches
ready.
or
When I've got
anything
some
else.
special equipment, I'll probably
Yeah.
request from reception.
So you've been provided with earpieces to talk to each other, and they are in a closed loop, so only you three can listen to each other. So even if you are separated, you can still communicate and warn each other. They have quite a long range, so unless you are, I don't know, 20 kilometers away, you should be fine. They're quite strong reception. I would say probably for a kilometer or so from you. So that's the first thing you've been given. If you don't have any sort of personal weapon, you've been given standard weaponry, like normal pistols and ammo related to it. If of course you want to bring your own, you're affectionate with your own gun, it is to be. And the last thing you've been given is of course a vehicle to go there. I hope if somebody knows how to drive. Would be nice.
I believe my character is a driver, actually. I
Cool.
think
That's
that's
I
that
believe,
something.
I
that's
believe
a very big.
Katie's character was a driver.
Yeah, I think Katie's was a driver. She's actually not
Let me
currently
look.
with you at the meeting. You've seen her in the office doing other tasks, but at the moment is not on the same job as you. She's
I
investigating other
have
things.
driving.
You have driving. Good. Very good.
The most I have is gyrotech.
Well, not
I mean,
yet.
I could go up to top floor, nick one of the helicopters, and bugger off. But you know.
Okay. So that's basically it at the moment. Your equipment for now is this one. You have
Do
your
they
own personal kit for first aid and other things with you, and whenever you want, your car is waiting for you at the -5 of the building.
is it possible asking the equipment officer like to forego the weapon and instead get a laser saw similar to the kind that would likely have been used to remove
That's more a medical equipment. He can give it to you, but he hardly suggests you to bring some sort of personal defense because it is rough over there.
Yep. I kind of opened the urban flash jacket and there's a stowed pistol in there.
Okay,
It's just more. Brandon explains that he's he's more likely to stay alive if he's got a purpose,
okay,
essentially,
fair
rather
enough.
than this. Yeah. So if he can show that he's got value, that he can actually do the job better,
Okay,
and a potential way to infiltrate them is that he could be a new removal expert, as it were.
that's fine.
Salvage the parts. Yeah.
Salvage the part. Okay, that's fine. After like 20 minutes, they brought up to you a tool that can do the job if needed to be.
Excellent.
Um, so you go to the -5 levels. There's a car, modest car, waiting for you. Is not a flashy secret agent car because you are secret and that's why you want to go without being noticed. So the drive is almost uh, uneventful. You pass from the high luxury of the city center to start to see the effect of gang wars and everything else. You actually, with the corner of your eyes, you think you see some fights in the street, but your car is going too fast, and then the alley that you pass is already gone, and you are strictly directed to the church and the pub in front of it. It is quite a wild area, but still there are businesses that runs their own activities in here, so it's not completely a wasteland. There's still life, but a very dangerous life, especially at night. It is daytime for you at the moment, but you know, better stay at daytime at this point. So you park in front of the church. So where do you go first? The church, the pub, or the alley? Up to you
Let's
guys.
say scene of the crime first.
Yeah.
Okay. You park across the road, and you've been told that he's on the alley between building number 5 and number 6. Number 6 is the pub. Number 5 is basically looks like a bunker, an oversized bunker, very with basically no window, and it looks like a shooting range converted now. So it was a bunker, but it's now converted to be a shooting range. Number 5. There are guards in front of it, and there is also, you notice there's quite a lot of security cameras in there, overlooking all around. So you cross the road, you go into the alley, and you still see that there is blood splattered almost everywhere. They have not been cleaning up very well.
Obviously dried up a bit by now.
Dried up a little bit, yes, but yeah, the traces of blood splatter, severing arteries and everything else is quite gross. So
Any evidence that we would pick up now would probably be contaminated at this point anyway from here, other than visual,
yes,
right? I mean,
more than likely, yes, because of course, although you don't think that this area has been visited ever since the police has been here, you still think that the environmental has ruined whatever fresh tracks you could possibly get from here.
Do med scanners able to pick up blood type?
You can still collect samples of blood even if it's dried out. It's gonna be taking a little bit longer to get an analysis, but yeah, potentially you can get the blood type in there. Yes.
Okay, sure. I'd just check to see if like take samples from a few different areas, and see if it's all of the same blood type or not, to insinuate maybe there's more than one person who lost blood here
Okay.
recently, essentially.
You feed the sample to your medical scanner, and after a while, all the samples that you put inside, you got 3 samples. 2 of them are um, the same blood type as the victim, but there is a third one which you can't really um, match with anything that you have. So another source of blood in there.
And it seemed, just looking at the scene, that it was from a similar time, like within the same day
Yes.
or two.
So
So possibly from the same incident, but who knows?
yes, I would like the entire group now to do a roll. Wow, today we're splashing it.
Group roll high.
Don't go
So,
overboard, man.
so with difficulty 5, I would like you to roll an awareness notice check.
Awareness. Where
It's
are
under
we?
intelligence.
Yep.
And we're -5 to the modifier.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Okay.
How the
Okay. And let's see, Vern.
I
I
have
don't
no
think
clue
that's
how to get
quite
it to
right,
roll.
is it?
You need to click on the ability.
Yeah, on your character sheet.
So you open the character sheet and you go under the intelligence branch. There you go. Cool.
Is that right?
Yes, it is all right. Yes.
Okay.
So, Jakub, you start to look
Your boy
around.
with the natural 10.
Wow. Show off. Show off. Um, you look around a little bit. You move bags of trash. You move a little bit trash bin and everything else, and you find hidden under one of the trash bin what looks like to be 2 fingers being severed.
Hmm.
But you remember clearly that the morgue report from the victim didn't include any other severed part of the body.
So we need to find out whose fingers these are.
The
Does Brandon have anything? He does have the med scanner, doesn't he? So I'd immediately pass them over to him
yes,
and say,
the
"Hey,
the
find
blood
out whose
type,
these are."
yes, the blood type after the scan and everything else returns positive to the third sample that you scanned. So somebody probably didn't know how to use the saw.
So they probably cut their own fingers off trying to cut this guy's legs off.
Yes.
So we're looking
Amateur.
for someone missing 2 fingers.
Yes, index and medium.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Trigger fingers. What?
Yep. Trigger fingers, indeed.
Not amateur. Idiot.
I'll put the fingers in a Ziploc bag just so that we can run fingerprinting and stuff back at the lab. Proper
Yeah.
CSI style.
Very CSI style. So yeah, that's what you see currently in the alley.
And nothing else.
Nothing else as far as you can tell. Yes, Vern.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, well, as Vern, is there the ability, since there's cameras everywhere? I mean, these guys don't appear to give two shits about leaving evidence behind or whether they're seen or not. Is there any way we can pull a feed from that night and potentially, I don't know, match it with other police reports of bodies being found like this in this area?
Yes, you might try to find it, and the only way you can do it is by asking at the building number 5, which is called still the shooting range is called the range. If you can access
Do
their feed,
do we want to risk that, folk?
or
Is anybody good at talking?
Oh God.
that's a,
So
and the
just having
silence
a
came.
I just am trying to remember what I actually put for my character, and I don't know if charisma's in.
Well,
in
charisma
terms
It'd be under cool as like
is the
interrogation,
cool, yes,
intimidate.
interrogation and other things, yes.
in terms of just looking in the alleyway at the cameras.
Yes.
Are the cameras for the range positioned in a way that they're looking at who's coming into the alley or who's entering and exiting their building?
There, on that side of the building, there are 3 cameras, one at the each corner and one in the middle of that side. And you think that by observing how they rotate, the one at the corner facing the street and the one in the middle potentially could have recorded something.
But
Wait. Oh no.
Yeah. Who wants to talk? Brandon.
yeah, I was. It's more of a case of like, is their set up to track who's entering their building, or is it a security
It's
thing to see who's in the
surveillance.
neighborhood?
It is surveillance more than
Okay, so
likely.
it's who's in the neighborhood. Gotcha.
Yes. Yes.
Would, given that Jakob has both electronics and electronic security, would Jakob be able to pull anything from the cameras directly?
Yes, you'll be able to.
That was what I was going to ask. Is basically Vern. Vern would just turn to him and be like, "What can you do here without us risking our cover right now?" But because like I don't want us to go in and start talking to people in this neighborhood right now. Vern is fully aware that this is not a situation where the 3 of us are going to walk around and nobody's going to be like, "Who the hell are you?" So, Jakob,
Absolutely.
what can you do?
You can potentially work out a way to access the feed and see if there's any recording, but you might need some sort of additional help.
Like a distraction, so nobody's looking at the cameras while I'm doing it.
No, not just that. You might be able to even ask Omega Central to send one of their infestation vans at the corner of the street that contains potentially equipment to have a little bit of a wider range.
Basically, a booster, like
Yes.
FBI van.
Yes. So, as I said, extermination, or cable company type of van.
Yeah, a
Flowers
fake
by
van.
Irene.
Eh? Sorry, what, Jakub?
Flowers by Irene.
Yeah,
FBI.
exactly. Flowers by Irene, yes.
Yeah.
You can potentially get in contact with the private and secured line of Omega if you want to send them to send you the additional
We
equipment.
could do that. How long would that take?
It probably will take, without traffic, 20 minutes.
Is it possible for us to head across the street to the church
Yeah, I was
to
just
maybe
about to
not
ask
be
that.
standing around in the alley?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
We could spend that 20 minutes questioning people in there.
Yeah, that's actually a very good plan. The Holy Angels Church is a Roman Catholic church offering traditional Latin Mass Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. and Sunday at 8 a.m. And is run by 2 priests, Father Kevin and Father Paul. There's also a group of nuns that help. So you enter this, it's quite a warming atmosphere in this church. And
Are
although
we smelling the classic incense and
classic incense and
candles, etc.?
exactly, although you might not be religious at all or whatever is your views on religion, you enter this church and you feel that you are safe. It feels like a safe haven in here, and it's quite a warm
Uh,
feeling you have.
can I have a question
Yes,
about the church, though. Do we
yes.
know whether or not this church has some kind of special protection against the gangs in the neighborhood where they would actively attack somebody outside the church but not come in?
Uh, even gangs avoid mixing themselves with religion. So there's always a sort of reverence towards the religion. You might be a
Okay.
criminal, you might be somebody that massacre in broad light people, but you will not mess up with the church.
No fighting on holy ground.
No
Gotcha.
fighting on holy ground, precisely. So you is a sort of sanctuary, I would say.
And the victim, what was his name again?
It was Trevor Bassett.
Trevor, right, got it.
Yes.
He obviously frequented the church. Is there any surveillance in the church, like
There is
inside itself?
there is just a couple of cameras on the front that just control the street. But
Right, so
mostly,
nothing inside.
no, nothing inside. And mostly the cameras that you see, as you analyze them, they are pointing to the street in case there is like, I don't know, um, homeless or beggars in the front of the church to see if they can intervene and help.
So it's more to see outside than to
Yes, and more to
say
see the
like
outside. Yes, indeed.
to protect the building. Right. Okay.
How long ago was the murder?
2 days ago.
So presumably the church is preparing for his funeral or last rites then.
Yes, precisely. You actually noticed on the board of the to-do things the moment you approach the inside of the church that the funeral for Trevor is planned in 1 day, so tomorrow.
So they are very close to him if they're willing to throw him. I'm guessing that the service is being handled. They're doing the arrangements for him. Do we know if
Exactly.
he has any family, anybody else
You
that
don't
would
know.
have?
You don't know at the moment, but
More
you're
Okay.
importantly, did they know?
yeah you're
Right.
free to probably to question the two
Okay.
priests and the nuns if you want.
Well, I'm thinking we go in under the guise of perhaps friends or
How about former military?
yes, something
As
along those lines,
That's a good plan.
so as
come
to
to
not
pay
arouse suspicion.
respects. Yeah, exactly.
And we're obviously like a day early.
Yes.
Whoops.
Yeah, we just arrived in town together.
Mhm.
Potentially, we could say we were a part of a former unit or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we'd question like the vicar or whatever the father.
Yeah,
Whatever.
when the moment you enter in the church, you after like 5 minutes of looking around and see how the church is inside, having a look at the board with the funeral is planned and everything else, you're actually welcomed by one of the sisters, and
Is
you're actually
this like
welcomed by Sister Elizabeth. I said, well, welcome to uh, the Holy Angels Church. How can I help you?
Who's taking initiative?
You
Not
need to
me.
decide who's the talky guy.
Brandon will reach out his hands and look to hold the sister's hands, like two hands on two hands, and says, "Thank you. We're just distraught with the recent news."
Oh, were you a friend of Trevor?
We were at one point, yes.
Um, the first thing you notice while you're holding a hand is that the hand itself feels that she did some hard works. Okay, it's not a delicate hand. It's a worker's hand.
Rough life.
Rough life. And there are some callous bumps on a couple of fingers as well.
Right. Okay.
That's what you notice by yeah, we are shocked, she says, and we still can't understand what happened and why um, such a beautiful soul got murdered in this brutal way.
Vern would take note that there seems to be more actual. It's not just mourning; it's that they want to know what happened and why. That she said that. You know what I mean? It's not just a, oh dear, I'm so sorry he's passed, but it's a, why would this happen to him? Who would do such a thing? Which maybe would lead into, is there any way we can help? Is there anything we can do? Sister.
I'm putting here a plan of the church for you guys to have a look. I'm prepared. Yeah.
Somewhat. There we are.
So yeah, the she doesn't really know how you could help because I mean the police has been here. They asked us a lot of questions and but we couldn't give any answer because of course we don't go out much. We tend to stay inside here because inside here is safe. Um, but we know that our type of life is not for everybody. So Trevor, from time to time, decided to go to the pub in front to have a couple of drinks. Never been drunk, but just a couple of drinks to feel again that he was part of something else in the past.
Was
Well,
the
that's
communion
where we.
wine not enough?
Sorry, what? Sorry, Jakub.
Was the communion wine not enough?
Uh, the community is a great community. It's I believe that he still suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder.
Sorry, that's not why I asked. If
Sorry.
is the communion wine not enough?
No, sorry,
We
I didn't. I apologize. I didn't understand that. The communion wine. No, was not clear enough for him. He probably was used to much stronger alcoholics as a former soldier.
Got it.
So
Is there anything else about his current life? Brandon says as he kind of gestures and looks to get the sisters to sit down in one of the pews across from him, beside him.
I mean,
That you can fill us in about his life now. We lost touch with our dear friend, and we'd love to hear what he was doing most recently.
well, he was a fantastic presence in our church, and he was helping us. He was helping in the soup kitchen, run by myself and the other three sisters, and he was in generally the handy guy, the ones that fix things and help on the cleaning, um, help doing services, doing the celebration of the church and other things, and in general it was like he was genuinely trying to recycle his life into something that was more uh, superior or better for other people.
And did he come to you himself, or was he a result of a conversion? Did you reach out to him directly?
Uh, no, we found him one day, sat on our pews, and he was his head was in his hands, crying still for probably remembering the brutality of war and other things. Uh, so we approached him and we asked him if we could do anything for him, and he was on the verge of deciding to had enough of this life. So we tried to give him a purpose, and we basically invited him here. And from that moment on, we assigned him a room upstairs, and he started to live with us.
Can we see the
Sis-
room? I'm just straight to the
Sorry.
point. Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, that's fine. I to second up with that, sister, out of curiosity, do you often get, gentlemen that need your assistance in such a way that come to stay with you and live with you, or was he just the only person here recently staying with
Uh,
you, all helping?
it was basically the only person we had in quite a while. We helped a little bit in the past, other homeless or beggars outside, but we never had anybody being resident inside here.
I hope you don't think we're too forward, but we'd really like to assist the authorities in some kind of way. If we could potentially find something maybe that they missed that we would know, if it's at all possible to see his quarters,
Yeah,
we'd be so.
like Jakub was saying, yeah, be very
I was
blunt.
going to ask. I was going to ask.
Like,
just
he
to
jumped
check
in.
our personal effects, not to assist the authorities, but okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, she can lead you to this room to see if you can maybe, since you've been working with him, you said, isn't it? You might be recognizing some of the stuff he has in his room. So,
Exactly.
um, I
Would
will ask you again while she is leading you to the room of Trevor. Another check of awareness, please.
Oh God.
I got
With
this.
again difficulty 5.
So that's -5 again.
Okay. Well, you Vern. Sorry. This is the one. Okay. Actually, it is Chris at this point. Chris, the corner of your eye glances on when she's leading the way. You see that her right sleeve of the nun's clothing,
Habit.
yes, reveals on the wrist a tattoo that's not definitely not a gang tattoo, but more probably an army tattoo, like one of those that an entire company tattoos on their wrist to be I am part of this company.
Then I take note of
Sympathetic.
that,
You take
but
note,
don't question it yet.
and what you were doing, Vern?
Something similar.
Yeah.
But
I was going to
I
question it on
won't
the
say
way out.
anything yet. Yeah, I'm not going to ask a question.
Okay. So she guides you at the first floor of the sides of the church, which is basically living quarters and other things. And you enter his room. His room is quite tidy, not much chaos in it. It's just normal, a little bit of disorder, but nothing that is screaming that somebody went through his stuff. Uh, Police has been here, but they didn't destroy most of it, so it's still quite in a decent order. What you do then? And she steps out. The sister steps out of the room, leaving you inside the room alone.
with with my pretty high education, would I know some Latin to just say to her? Like I'd just basically say, "May God watch over us all," or "May
Yeah,
God
let's
watch over."
let's try this. Um, I would say with a check in oratory. It is under cool. Difficulty, I would say 10.
Just to say some
Wow.
Latin.
Yeah, because you're not very used to say Latin.
Good luck.
I've got education 7. Like
Yeah, but
I'm
education
Yeah,
a
but
7
that
is
well-read
doesn't mean you're
guy.
public
educating in
school.
Latin.
Latin is a dead language even in this world, I'm afraid. Even more, probably.
Well, it's going to be a negative number. I'll tell you that one.
One,
Yep.
you
See, there you go.
basically you think you're saying something in Latin, but it's mostly uh, Latinglish.
So church services aren't done in the Roman Catholic way in Roman Catholic churches at this time.
No, it is a different type of Latin. It's been because it has been carried over the years, and some of it has been forgotten. So they adapted a different way of Latin, if you want to say that. Yeah,
Right.
It's like Spanglish, but with Latin.
It's like Spanglish. Yeah, it's like an
that's
Esperanto
cool.
way of saying Latin. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm just thinking with my interest in religion and education, I would
Yes.
have been all right. But nope.
No, your interest in religion is perfectly fine. You just didn't study that languages. That's the point.
Cool.
Right. So you are alone in the room. What are you going to do?
I
Um,
assume he's got a computer of some description in there.
It doesn't.
He doesn't. Okay.
Vern?
any potential luggage, baggage, book, or something tangible that we could search through for maybe documentation, photograph.
What you see, it is mostly there's a desk, there's a bed, and the desk shows some writing equipment of the old style. So he never used potentially a computer or laptop or whatever, anything technological. You see pen and paper, but there isn't any how can I say any book to write in, any notepad to write in. There's just random papers scattered on the table and pens, but nothing left written.
Blank paper is what you're
Blank
saying.
papers, yes.
So, which appears to be nothing of note, right? Because it's blank.
Yes.
Is potential to use the oldest trick in the book and run a pencil over the front of it to see if there's anything written. Or scan it in some way.
Yeah.
I don't have technology that way though on Vern, but
no, you can
And I
do
have forgery, so I could check to see if that was. Would that be relevant?
yeah.
You can do that. You can do that. Yes.
Does anybody else have forgery, or is it just me?
I think.
I don't. I think it's just you.
Give
What
me a difficulty.
Surprise. 5.
-5.
There,
not bad.
you see traces of something being written, and it is mostly a list of dates. But you can't really, with the tools you have currently, you can't really determine. It feels like there is a at 8 o'clock something has happened, 9 o'clock something has happened, and such other things. So it's like a list of events by the time.
Are they recent dates then?
Yes, it is actually the day of the murder.
And the most recent entry?
The most recent entry, it was at 11 p.m.
Vern would just look over his shoulder and nudge him to say cross-reference that potentially later with any footage.
Okay.
I'm sure he'd put 2 and 2 together on his own.
Right. There's another details that you see that it's you see also 2 drawers in the desk. One has been has a lock and has been tried to be pressed open but failed. So one of the drawers is locked shut and tried to be broken in.
Can one of us try and get in there then?
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
I only have streetwise. I don't think I have any lock picking.
Pick
Or,
lock.
I could just punch.
I mean, I could just shoot it open.
That's what I was going to say. I mean,
Yeah, you can try to shoot, but you are also in a church.
How complicated is the lock? I mean, is it like a wooden chest of drawers?
It's a wooden chest of drawers with an old-fashioned lock.
So I could just say jam a knife in the lock.
Yeah, you can try that. Yes,
in the locking mechanism and try.
It is probably the same thing that somebody tried to do.
Right.
You can try with, let's see.
Can I lend him a knife?
Yeah,
I've got a knife. I've got
you
a
got a
butcher knife.
knife.
Oh, there you go.
Which one's bigger? Which one's bigger?
Always, Jakob. Always.
I mean, there is
Jakob turns to Vern and says, "You take smaller one."
Oh.
Picklock. Then there's a skill under tech.
I
Picklock.
don't have anything in picklock. Oh,
Well,
give me a
you have
difficulty
tech, so difficulty is gonna be 5. I'm gonna give you 5 on this.
one.
You jump the knife in and you just rattle inside, and more than likely it has been softened before. So by jamming the knife and just moving it in and out, you basically put the lock out of the socket, and then the chest of drawers opens.
So what are we looking at?
Inside the chest of drawers there is a black book.
And inside the black book?
Inside the black book there is what looks like to be a scouting activities of the neighborhood. There's a lot of dates. There's a lot of dates next to name of people and places.
Okay, so what's the most recent entry?
You feel that you probably found the something similar to the one you just scratched from the blank papers. It is the day before the murder.
So our gentleman has
So-
been keeping watch on
Yes.
particular people.
What does
This is
what's the entry
probably
say then? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
no, fine.
The entry says 8 o'clock pub meeting.
PM?
PM, yes. The last entry. 8 o'clock meeting pub.
And that's it.
I guess
Yes.
I guess we're going to have to hit the pub at some point in time and find out who's his connection.
Okay. By the time you go downstairs and you go to the front door, you see that there's a van parked in front of the church as well. And it feels like it's clearly an out of place van.
Oh God.
You two go ahead.
Okay. So
Jakob is clearly going to approach the sister we just spoke to.
Okay. We'll turn to Brandon and say, do we want to hit the pub together? Do you want me to handle it solo, or are you going to watch my back?
Silence from Brandon.
Yeah.
He has options. Vern can do it solo. I'm just saying, we've had
Well-
conversations.
Yeah. What play do you recommend here?
We don't really know the neighborhood very well. I think both of us may be a little threatening walking in asking questions. Maybe I can feel out the bartender. You give me maybe 20. If I'm not out by then, stick your head.
Sure. I can do that.
Okay. You can potentially wait inside the church, Brandon, because the range of your earpiece is strong enough to just basically
Yeah.
work out.
Monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if everybody else is going to check out the van and the pub, Brandon would definitely like find a pew there and just pretend to pray while he's just keeping an eye out on the comings and goings in the church for
Okay.
sure.
So meanwhile, Jakob would be going going to look for the sister, perhaps like in the storeroom or the kitchen.
Okay. More than likely they are in the soup kitchen.
In the soup kitchen, right.
Yes.
So how many others are there other than
There
her?
are in total 4 sisters.
Right.
Sister names are Mary Grace, Elizabeth, Ruth, and Theresa.
Can I tell if there are any similar tattoos on the others, or are they covered up?
Now that you know that one have it, you look more precisely at any moment in which there may be the sleeves move away from the wrist and so on, and you actually manage to look that they all have tattoos on the wrist, but they look different from each other.
So non-military, or
No, all
are we still talking
military,
military? Right.
but different companies.
Okay, and Brandon's within earshot, right?
Yes.
If I were to just shout through to him, for example.
Well, technically, we're all in earshot. We all
of
have the
course,
earpieces
communication.
in.
Yes, communication. Yes.
So we're all hearing each.
Yes.
Right.
But yeah, if you were in trouble or needed help,
Yes.
I'd
Okay.
literally right in that main, like in front of the altar in one of those pews.
In that case, Jakob would approach. Was it Elizabeth?
Elizabeth, yes, is the one that you
Yes.
were talking earlier. Yes.
And simply say, "Where did you serve?"
She looks a little bit um, surprised, but not too much. She served in the Afghan wars.
And what brought you here?
Penitence for the crimes.
And your fellow sisters?
All over the place. We fought in different environments. Uh, Somebody fought in the South American rebellions. Some fought into the riots of London, and some other. And Mary Grace fought in the South African uh, apartheid revolution.
Now, what you remind me? Did Trevor served as well, didn't he?
Yes, Trevor served
Yes.
as well, and he
so-
fought in the African War as well.
Right. So, if both he and Elizabeth fought in the Afghan war,
Yes.
Jakob would turn around and say, "So, did you know Trevor before?"
No, we were in different times. The war lasted 20 years, so we just fought. I when I was fighting, he just got the accident. I fought for another year or so after him got his legs cut off and implanted.
Okay. In that case, I would ask for her surname, then. So I can reference. So I can cross-reference this later. Obviously, without telling
Yes.
her that.
Yes. Her name was Elizabeth McBride.
Right. I would say no further questions, and I'd walk out.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you heard everything, of course, guys, in your earpieces and other things. Vern, you approach the pub, and I actually have a picture of the pub for you to watch.
Probably from some research you've done, just going to all the Irish pubs locally, taking some pictures.
No, look, there you go.
It's all for my stream. It's all for my stream. Seriously.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I swear.
I have everything.
Nice.
Everything.
Everything.
Amazing.
This is all Flaherty, of
That's a
course.
tiny bathroom, though.
Yes, a very
Yeah, I
tiny
was going to
bathroom.
say that. I hope not more than one person needs to pee.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
So
got a
one
permanent
way
out of
in,
order sign.
one way.
There's one way in, one way out, as far as you can tell. Yes.
Oh,
Of course, the entrance is the one on the left. The ones on the
yeah.
south wall are all the booths, and the community room is basically pool, darts, and other
Out of
old-style games.
curiosity,
Yes,
do we have open windows? Are they shuttered windows? Are there any windows?
they are barred windows because the area is not really nice.
No, I get it. I get it. It's just, fast exit one,
Yes,
just in case.
yes. The tavern
Um,
feel very Irish, very Irish,
classic.
classic
So
Irish.
Irishman behind the counter.
Yeah, there's a large guy behind behind the counter, and you can hear um, thick Irish accent being spoken around. There's quite a few people in, and also Italian and Irish accent. You also notice that there are quite a few security cameras all over the place.
So that either means that they are above the table businessmen, or they like to keep track of any enemies.
Yeah, these basically at every corner there is a security camera. There is one dome in the center that keeps rotating, and there is yes.
Would it be safe to assume that maybe someone else is watching these cameras? It's not just about
Oh
the
yeah,
bar.
more than likely, more than likely.
Okay.
Um, what do you
How
do?
many how many patrons are in there besides the bartender?
You can count as far because the door of the community room is closed currently. It's a glass door, but it's the old-fashioned, so it's wooden frame with a couple of glasses in the center, so you can't really see what is inside. As far as you can tell, in booth 1, 3, and 7, there is a total of 2, 3, and 2 patrons sat.
Pretty busy.
Yeah, and there's a couple sat at the bar stool. Bar stool number 3 from the left and 5, not as a group. The stock of liqueur and beer, it is quite impressive. There's several types of beer and several types of whiskey and other super alcoholics.
Um, Vern would walk in fairly confidently, taking in the surroundings but keeping her head low, and sit at the closest stool to the door.
Okay.
Uh, order what's on tap.
Okay. The bartender spills a pint of Guinness.
Oh,
It still exists. It is
I
being
mean, of
saved.
course.
It has been saved in the
Guinness will stand the test of time, yeah.
yeah
Just the
always.
toucans digital now.
Indeed.
Is the bartender hanging around for conversation, or
He's not currently because he just at the moment, since you are clearly new and clearly not from here, it tends to be serving you and then moving on to talk to the other two guys at the bar. You notice also that the bar it is actually real wood. The bar desk,
The countertop.
the countertop.
the
Thank you.
countertop? Yeah.
Thank you. Words. There are things that are difficult sometimes. The countertop is actually real oak.
Oak. Not bad.
Yes, and
So
yes,
that's fairly fancy and
Yeah.
expensive.
yes. TV screen showing football matches and rugby matches. you see quite a violent version of rugby that you remembered, but that's okay. But yeah, it is
Uh,
the bar life goes on its own at the moment.
Vern would down about half the glass and then wave him over.
The bartender
I
comes
do.
to you.
I just want to point out I do have persuasion and fast talk. I don't know
Mhm.
if this is gonna.
Well, if it needs to be, we can use the skills. Depends on how you
Uh,
approach the conversation here.
I think I'm gonna be direct here.
Okay.
You have a nice place. It's pretty quiet. This neighborhood's pretty rough. You would know if anything out of sort happened recently around here. I had a friend go down recently, and I'm just looking to find some answers, man. Straight direct to him. Just straight direct.
You see him flinching a little bit, and he doesn't answer immediately. But you hear the second guy at the stool, the one in number 5, um, raising a little bit the voice and saying, "Well, questions here are not very appropriated. We are here to have a pint and watch the sport." And then it goes silent again. The bartender moves away from you.
Do I start shit?
I will. You will let me know after the break.
Okay.
We're
Roll
gonna
to
go for a
start
break.
shit.
There we go. We are back. Anyway, thank you guys for sticking around in chat. Sorry if I can't chat much with you tonight, but there is a fantastic Metal Parky here that is handling the chat as a pro. So sorry for that again, but
Don't inflate his ego.
yeah, don't inflate his ego, says Chris. But I think there's no such thing as inflating somebody's egos like that. He's already inflated enough. If you inflate it too much, probably it's gonna explode. So, but anyway, so we left with Vern probably having some trouble uh, in the pub. Before going back to Vern to a second, I'm gonna tell something to Jakub at this point. Uh, while you're waiting in the church, you keep flicking through the black book that you found in Trevor's room,
Mm-hmm.
and you end up on a page of a week ago, and there's the usual list of meetings at different times of the day. So it's probably logging who's going in and who's going out of the tavern, and also who's going in and who's going out of the range. And there's a side note at the bottom of the page that says IRA with two question marks. And that's the only thing you
Okay.
see.
So I was just writing that down.
So what?
I was just typing that down, so I've got it
Okay.
in front of me. Yeah.
This.
All right, right. Yeah, I've got that.
Cool. There's not much in terms
Okay.
of inflating the subject, the topic, enlarging the topics and everything else. It's just IRA question mark, and that's all you see. You kind of notice that some of the names are very Irish in this
Okay.
log, but there's not much else in terms of comments.
Right. I would quickly relay that information
Okay.
to the others,
So now
so
you have
they're
this
aware of it.
information. This information arrives to your earpiece, Vern, at the same time that the guy sat at the bar told you we don't do question here, we are just here to drink.
So Vern now knows that this is some kind of involved, organized.
Yeah.
And she's probably neck deep in.
Yeah. Well.
Well, the can is already open.
Yes.
So it's too late. She's going to very casually, nonplussed, finish the rest of her drink and nod and turn to the patron and say, "Well, I wasn't talking to you, so I would mind my own business."
Okay. You see this quite large patron. Large in terms not muscular. It is has a quite a good
He's fat.
He's chonk.
chunk. He's chunky. He's chunky, and he finishes his pint of Guinness, drops into put it on the top, sit up, stand up, comes to you, and with a very strong Irish accent, which I'm not gonna try to attempt because I'm not good at these things, but a strong Irish accent and a very calm voice. He just say, "Mrs. I would just leave if you were you. You don't want to ruin your nice cloak in here.
Hair with song.
I think
With,
1 second, Cross.
no?
1 second, because we're having problems with the
Uh,
Discord. Sorry, guys, we're having Discord issues. Let's try to reconnect and connect. Test? Can you hear me, Kay?
Oh, hi.
Okay, cool. What you were saying,
I can
Vern?
hear you now.
Okay,
Can you
cool.
hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, cool.
Nice.
Discord
Yeah,
just had a
much
fart.
better.
Vern is laughing and tying her dreads back. She has an undercut, fairly long dreads, back with a leather thong. He's already talking to her. She's already. Mister, I came here for information. I'm going to get it through you or from.
Okay, let's do a nice intimidation check here.
And we can hear this at the same time, right?
Yes, you can hear everything.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, then, in that case, Jakob's on his way.
Right. So,
Hand in pocket on gun.
Intimidation.
intimidation indeed.
Oh, where is that?
And I'm gonna
I'm
have
looking.
It's in cool skill.
It's in
the
cool,
second
yes.
down.
Ah,
It's
yes.
on the right hand side of the skill.
Oh, woof. Of course I have streetwise and not intimidate. God damn it, won't you?
Oh, sorry.
You're going a bit robotic again, guys.
Are we?
It's green on my end.
It's green on my end. I think we
I'll
lost.
disconnect and
We
reconnect.
lost Brandon.
Yeah, hang on. I'll be
Don't know
Yes.
what's going on.
We
testing.
testing,
Yeah,
testing.
you're good.
Cool. So I'm gonna have a roll as
Intimidate
well.
with what?
Intimidation, and with a 5 of difficulty.
-5?
Yeah.
Just
-5, yes.
Ain't not bad.
The patron feels a little bit, does just one step behind, and he just says, questions are handled not in here, he says.
Is there any way I can push him to maybe talk to the owner? Is the owner here? I'm asking.
The owner is actually the guy that served you the drink. He's the one behind the counter.
All right, I got you.
And he clearly didn't want to talk.
Well, I have persuasion and fast talk. That's what I'm saying. Like, is there
Hmm.
any way I can? I just want to talk. I don't want to mess up your beautiful bar. I just want to talk with one person.
He looks around. There is a lot of patrons at the moment that are the ones that are sat at the cubicles, that are looking at the bar now. And he look at the countertop of the bar, and with the residue of water and spilled beer on the top of the counter, he writes down 9 p.m.
Okay.
with the residue of the water.
Okay. Vern would notice this, obviously.
Yes.
We're not going to roll on that. That's obvious.
It is quite evident. He looks in your eyes, and then he looks at the countertop.
Okay. Vern takes note of this, puts her hands up in a placating gesture.
Okay.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry. Please go back to your drinks. if there's a means to make this right, she points to the bartender and then for everybody else, a round of whatever they want on me. I'm sorry to disturb.
You hear a big cheer of a mixture of Italian, Irish, and drunk accent. because
No, drunk is a
because
separate
drunk
accent.
because the drunk accent exists. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's the drunk accent.
Awesome.
I mean, yeah,
Yes,
pretty convincing.
and basically the bartender start to serve drinks to everybody, and you leave a credit chip that covers the cost of all this. And the fat guy that was talking to you is still standing still next to the counter, watching you basically leave, and stares at you until you leave the premises.
Vern is nonplussed by this and just flips her coat and leaves.
Okay. So consider that at the moment is midday. So there's quite a long time to wait for more info.
I think by that time Jakob would have got to the bar, just be outside of it.
Yeah, basically the moment you approach the bar, you see her coming out.
Right.
She would just have a smirk on her face and be like, fuck me.
Fair enough. Cool stuff. Brandon, what you're doing? You're still inside the church, faking praying?
Yeah, just bowing my head, keeping an ear to the comms. It seems like everything's being handled.
Yeah. While you're still inside, you actually see not only the four nuns that are preparing for the um, soup kitchen, everything. So they're preparing the meal for the day. You also see Father Kevin and Father Paul. Father Kevin is a rugged 50-year-old Irishman from Belfast. He introduces himself. Like, you can clearly sense and hear the accent from Belfast. It is quite strong. It is not even trying to hide it. But Father Paul is from Nigeria.
Okay. And
So
they come over and introduce
yeah,
themselves
they
as
come over
like
and
a
introduce
new
themselves
person
because
praying in the church.
yes, well, the sisters told them that you came in asking for Trevor. So they came after they finished their services in the back of the church, and they came and introduced themselves to you.
Um, right. Hmm. I guess Brendan would. Is it clear which one has seniority here?
Uh, Definitely Father Kevin, the Irish one.
Okay. Brendan would turn to Father Kevin and
Yes.
say, Father, I've never done this before, but I think I have to do like a confession or something. I've got something weighing on my soul. Is there somewhere we can go?
Yes, he points to the booth of the confessional, as you can see from the map. There is next to his office, basically. There's a row of confessional. He picks the first one and gesture to you to go to the side entrance for that.
Okay.
Uh, so tell me, what troubles you?
Um, I've not really done this before, but this is confidential.
It's always confidential. It's between you, me, and God. So clearly it is. Whatever we say here can't escape this bond.
Okay. I think I killed a man.
Okay. And how did you kill this man? Why did you kill this man?
I was told to. All I take out the Brandon takes out the laser cutter from his pack and puts it like shows it to the priest through the grate and says, "I removed the man's legs without his consent, and I think he bled to death." And he's deliberately looking to see what reaction he sparks from
Oh
Kevin.
God. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. That's unexpected. Fair. Okay. Cool. Um. Right. uh. You will need to do a check of perform.
Okay.
Is under empathy.
Yep, got it. Any modifier?
5.
-5?
-5. Yes. You sound quite convincing, but the priest goes very silent, and it takes a very long 2-3 minutes to actually say something. Why are you saying this to me now?
What do you mean?
Why are you trying to say this to me? Why are you trying to pose as the one that killed? I can
How do you
sense.
know it
Yes,
wasn't me?
I know who
At this
killed.
point, we can hear this, right?
Yes, you can hear everything.
At this point, we're running to the church.
Yeah, I just feel like we both look at each other and just start moving really fast.
I have seen who committed the murder,
Well, who was it? We're
and it
friends
was
of.
clearly not you. So why are you saying this to me? Why are you showing me that tool? Why are you trying to trouble me more than I'm already troubled?
My friends and I are. We're associated with Trevor and his past, and we just want to make sure that justice is served. If you know who did this, this is confidential between you, me, and your God. So if you tell me, I won't tell anyone, I promise.
Yes, this might be a bond between me, you, and God, but he will know.
Who is he?
And at that point, when he says he will know, you you see that he is leaving the confessional and going out of behind the altar and to the back door. You two guys come into the church at the time in which Father Kevin is leaving the confessional and going with a fast pace towards the altar, behind the altar, and there is a door that leads to the back.
Which one of us is faster?
Um, movement. How much you have in movement?
Where's movement? Oh, it's MA, isn't it?
Yes, MA.
6.
How much you have, Vern?
Sorry, say that again.
How much
What do you have
movement
in
I'm
you
MA?
cutting
have?
out like crazy.
Really?
Yeah, hang on a second.
Okay.
All right, where am I looking under again? Sorry about that.
One of the main stats, MA movement.
Oh, 7.
Okay, so she's
You're
quick.
up.
You
All
are
right, I'm
quicker.
hauling it.
You're holding it, and
You go straight after him.
you basically reach the door as he closes behind himself.
What, is it locked?
Is it locked?
it
do
is-
I
it
do I
is- it
actually
is
get to put
locked.
my hand on it?
You
Oh, shit.
you basically grab the handle the moment he closes, and you feel that he's now locked from the inside.
Shit. Sorry, God.
God
You
watches
should have
over
said,
you.
"God damn it!"
God damn it!
Oh, too late.
Too late. You missed the line there.
Vern spins around.
Yes.
Should I kick it down?
I mean, is it an electronic lock? Is it a?
It
Is
is
it?
a,
Yeah. Is
no,
this like a physical thing I can break?
it is a physical thing. It's not an electronic thing.
Shoot the fucking thing down.
Look, I'm having a day. Okay.
You're having a day.
I'm gonna say, yeah. Let's just make a ruckus. I'm tired of being quiet. Let's just shoot the.
Fine by me.
So
Shoot the lock
you
off.
take out the your gun on this.
Wahahaha.
You take out the gun and you're ready to shoot. Behind
Okay.
you hear shot loaded. Behind you.
Behind me.
Yes.
But we can see her from there, right?
Would they see who's behind me? Are they in view of?
So you're
It's big
facing the
open
door.
hallway.
Jakub is next to
Okay.
you, and you hear the cocking of a gun, of a weapon behind you.
Oh shit.
And Jakob would hear this too.
Yes, Jakub will hear
And
this.
Yeah,
he
he's
would
next to me.
immediately draw his gun
Okay.
and
You
point in the direction
see?
where that's coming from.
So gun at my head.
No, it's quite
And
behind. It's quite
Jakub-
behind you. It's quite behind you. This gun.
Oh, it's not directly behind me,
It's
but
not
it's
directly
it's
behind
it's
you. No. It doesn't surprise you like that. You hear the echoing of a loading of a gun in the church behind
Oh,
you.
well then we both spin around with our guns aimed out.
Yes.
I mean, come on, we're both in the same position then, right?
Yes. You see Sister Elizabeth and Sister Ruth aiming at you with a rifle.
What the fuck
What?
is
Oh
this
my
church?
You exit the confessional, Brandon, and you see these two nuns pointing guns at Vern and Jakub. And you exit actually with still your laser saw in your hand. So it's not a very good situation here.
Yeah, well, I
Mexican
stashed,
standoff.
yeah, I stashed the laser saw, I think. And then what? This is a place of God, ladies. What are you doing?
And we are trying to keep it like that, Sister Elizabeth says.
All right. I'll put mine down if you put yours down. Let's talk this out.
You first, she says.
God damn it.
I don't trust these one bit.
I'm inclined not to either. Vern looks between the two nuns and Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're in a holy place. I'm taking a risk. And she slowly lowered.
Okay. And talking to you as well, Jakub, and you too.
Jakob is hesitant to lower his gun.
Yeah. And hesitant for how long?
Until there's a sign that one of the nuns is lowering one.
Well, they ask for both of you to lower first, so until that doesn't happen,
Okay.
They're not gonna happen.
So Vern's lowered hers,
Yes.
and we're still here.
Yeah.
Jakob mutters under his breath, "God damn it," and lowers his gun.
You see both of the nuns putting the secure on their weapons and lowering them down. We try to keep this place free of violence. The only guns allowed are ours for personal defense. Yes, the church is a sanctuary, and people usually don't mess with us. But we need a little bit of self-defense. And now you know that we've been in the army, we've been soldier. We can't let this place becomes another war theater. This is why
We
we have guns.
understand that, but if you're so inclined to protect this place and protect your flock, you have to help us find who murdered this man.
We could,
Why?
we could, we could help. We could give you all the information you need, but they will know. They will
Who are
burn this
they?
place down and they'll murder us.
Who are they?
I'm not going to uh, make names, but there are several cults in this town, and there's one in particular that is very oppressive and has tentacles everywhere. Ramification of his dirty uh, preaching. We don't want having anything to deal with him in here, and we wouldn't want to risk our lives and the lives of our flock for an
What's to
information.
keep him from picking off the rest of your flock?
Sorry, what again?
What's to keep him from picking off the rest of your flock? He's already done it once. Who knows how many others are.
You have been a fighter, isn't it? You know that sometimes you need to make sacrifices for the
So
greater
you're
good.
willing to let one man suffer for the entirety of the flock. You're making deals with someone very dangerous. We can put an end to this if you help.
We are trying to survive, and nobody ever can put an end to this. So please, if you
Vern
respect,
just looks to the other two.
if you respect life,
Before I say anything else,
yes,
would we be able to get Omega to help provide some protection for them?
potentially, yes, but by
Wait,
doing so, you are risking the identity of Omega.
They wouldn't go for that.
Omega can hear this going on, by the way. Is there someone
No,
monitoring our
this is
sets, or it's just.
it is just you guys. It is your closed loop.
Brandon's going to walk up to the two sisters and because he's kind of behind them, keep his distance so he's not like sneaking up behind.
Okay.
But he turns to them and says, "Sisters, did you pray to your God for assistance in this matter?"
We pray every day to God, but God can't help on this.
Well,
God can tend the souls of our flock. He can't help against this type of situation, I'm afraid.
you prayed to your God. Three strangers, two of which are well armed as you've seen, turn up on your doorstep saying, "We're here to help. We're here to help you. We're here answering your God's call to solve this for you.
You
We're here to help you."
you don't really know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. And
Then help me
and by
understand.
saying
Tell
that,
me.
um, she lowered her rifle. This is Elizabeth. She lowers her rifle. She undoes her vest, clothing of the nun.
Habit.
Habit. Thank you. Oh God, a habit. And you see that very well hidden and very well masked. Her left leg is completely artificial, and part of her torso has been reconstructed artificially.
Are the others like this?
This is what happened to me when I tried to stop him. I don't want to happen it again.
Are the others like this? Or
In
are
different
they not
ways,
willing to?
yes. In different ways, yes.
What quality do his cybernetics look like? Are they
That
good?
quality is actually top quality. You see that there
Okay.
is who fixed them, who fixed her. This is the only one you see. Who fixed her in that way? It's something that normal people can't buy, can't even dream of.
So for a non-profit organization, they're pretty well off.
This is way above grade for them.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
They already have the information. I mean, like, okay, hang on. We know
Hmm.
who we're really out here looking for. We want some kind of direct connection to this cult, even without them naming names. I mean, we're getting a confirmation, no? Do
Yes,
we technically for Omega need actual hard evidence?
they kind of
Or
need at least the killer, if possible, to being
all right.
captured or whatever. You can you can record things that have been said and everything else, of course, but to be doing some sort of action, even if they have to mobilize uh, additional forces, they need to have proof.
So question,
Yes,
Father Kevin's run out right
yes.
now. Where is Paul or whatever his name
Uh,
is?
Father Paul introduced himself and disappeared after talking to you briefly with like small talk. He disappeared again.
So is he not in
What
the building still?
He's not currently in this part of the church. No,
Okay.
what time is it around this time now that we're going
we
through?
are talking about one in the afternoon. A silence. So what you doing, guys?
So, is it possible for me to confer with my friends here for a minute?
Um, sure. She said she says sure with a very tone. Okay, sure, confer.
I would usher the other two
Okay,
to a corner without, not within earshot.
okay. So
We can't we can't force our hand here. They're not going to give him up easily. So we have two options. We hang around and see if we can either A, snag this guy for interrogation, or we force it out of them now somehow. Uh, None of our three here are quite charming enough for these sisters, I think.
Are they protecting someone, or are they protecting themselves from someone?
They're clearly protecting themselves from someone.
I mean, we talk about the flock, but they're fearful for themselves.
Yet they ignore offers of help. One of them's been targeted. He's in the military. They've all in the military. If they're looking to protect themselves and they're refusing help, how is that a soldier's?
I get it. Mind frame of a soldier, you're always a soldier. But to be honest, it doesn't always work. Sometimes you're just tired of fighting. They're just looking to be quiet. And we're kicking the hornet's nest here. I don't see a way we can offer protection against this hydra, as it were, for them. Because if it's as entrenched in this area as it is, the three of us, we're going to have to do a lot more digging.
Sorry, Cross, you cut out for a second then.
Sorry.
We're going to have to do a lot for what?
Digging.
A lot more digging.
Or they're already targeted. One of them's already been a victim. They could be the bait.
Wow. Wow.
Do any of
So-
you have any cybernetics that could be useful here?
My eye.
No, but I know my way around a few things.
So either we camp out here, see why they're targeting these people, or follow a lead elsewhere.
We need to find out where Father Kevin went.
We also need to find out. This is okay, out of character completely. We don't have evidence off of any kind of scanning of the cameras in the area. We still haven't spoken to the bartender, which may turn into another shit show anyway, regardless of the time. There's a huge chunk of time here.
I mean, we were going to check the cameras at some point, right?
Right.
That was definitely on the agenda. We were waiting for the van to show up, and now the van's showing up. We can do that.
Okay.
While
Okay.
Yes, while you're talking to each other, you hear noise coming from the street, and all of a sudden, the main door of the church opens, and you see running in the fatty from the pub.
Is he running in aggressively? Is he
No,
running in
he's
wounded?
running in panic.
He's running in
He's running in panic,
panic.
and the moment he closes the door of the church behind himself, he screams into the church, "Everybody, please get down!"
Vern ducks behind any kind of potential wooden structure.
One of the pews, then.
Yes,
Sure, one of the 1,000 people.
yes. Do you duck, guys? Do everybody else ducks?
No,
Jakob
Brandon
jumps
would-
into the soup kitchen.
In the soup kitchen.
I mean, why not?
Okay.
There's the door, right? So I can shut the
Yes.
door behind me.
Yes.
Brandon would probably just turn and look at this guy and get a measure of him,
Yeah.
and just standing up.
He basically, this guy, take a leap, jumps behind one of the pews, and after what looks like to be 10 seconds, you all hear a very loud explosion coming from outside.
I hope that's not our van. I hope that's.
The force of the explosion actually makes you fall on the floor, Brandon. So you go basically the impact of the explosion, the pulse wave, the wave of the explosion makes you unbalanced and fall on the floor. The explosion doesn't touch the door resistor, but you hear the fire outside roaring after the explosion.
So it would be safe to say that it's probably not a good idea to go out the front door.
Well, you have windows, you can actually see outside what is happening.
So what's
Especially
happening?
from the soup kitchen, if you go to the bathrooms, you can see outside what is happening. Same things from the storeroom. Some of the glasses have shattered. Actually, the front glasses of the church has all shattered inside.
Oh, I was thinking of going outside the back
Uh,
and then going around the alleyway that's in between the church and whatever building 12 is.
Uh, yeah, building 12 is a showroom. Yeah, but yes,
Right.
there is a back door, but at the moment the only back door is the one that is being closed by
But we
Father
could get through that.
Kevin. Yeah,
We could get through that by either kicking it down or shooting the lock or whatever.
yes, and yes, you start to make your way to the back if you want to
Yeah.
ignore what is happening on the front. You go to the
I'd
back.
be making my way to the back.
Okay, um, you see both of the nuns on the ground, trying to recover themselves, standing up on the impact of this wave. And Sister Elizabeth just whisper as you pass through, and says, "He knows." As you pass through her and you go through the door.
Vern would shake off the what would be noise from the actual explosion and the physical disruption of the explosion, and attempt to help Brandon up, and also make her way over to the nuns as well.
Yes.
And basically retaliate with, "You're not safe."
Well, we were safe before. Now we're not safe anymore. You asked way too many questions. They know.
Then give us an opportunity to end this.
Would I be at the back by now?
You are at the back, yes.
Cool. By that point, Jakob would have pulled out his gun and shot the lock off.
Okay.
The back
Nobody's
door.
stopping you at this point.
Finally, a god.
Finally, I go on. Do I have to roll for this, or could I just
No,
shoot
you
the
just
lock
shoot.
off?
It is not. It is not a complicated shot.
Okay. 99 rounds left.
99 rounds left on the barrel.
Yeah.
The door slams open, and you see like a study room with another door at the back of it, and the room itself, there is nobody inside. It contains all the clothing of for the function, all
Right.
the tools of the trade for preparing the function itself, and such other things.
And is the back door to the way out blocked in any fashion, or is it locked,
No,
or
it's just
whatever? No?
the door is closed, but it is not locked.
In that case, I'd be making my way out back
Okay.
to go around between the alleyway, as I mentioned.
Yes, there is no trace of Father Kevin,
Okay.
and you start to smell quite a lot of the smoke of the fire that is outside, and you can tell that is a wood fire by the smell of what the smoke is coming from the front.
It's the bar. It's the oak.
A glorious, glorious oak.
The oak countertop. But yeah, while I'm making my way out back, carry on.
Okay. Vern and Brandon, what you do?
After being helped up by Vern, Brandon would look over everyone in the church. Everyone in the church seems to be fine, just knocked over and a bit shell shocked.
Yes, they are shell shocking.
And then he'd go out the front door towards the explosion.
So the moment you open the door, you see basically a war zone outside. Your van is singed, so you see there's a smoke splatter on the front. The front glass is shattered, and the side glasses are shattered as well. But the van itself has not taken any damage.
How's our driver? Because it didn't just float there. Did we automate the van to come there, or is there a driver?
There is no driver. The van has been
Okay.
delivered, and then whoever delivered to you disappeared in thin air.
Okay.
The bar itself is now a mess of destruction and fire and smoke.
Vern would follow him outside and look around to take stock of who's actually running or who's actually still standing around.
There is actually nobody in the street besides you two.
It's just the explosion,
Yes.
and
By the look of the type of explosion, it hasn't been an explosion that it's not a bomb that been placed in front of the pub. The explosion comes from the inside. It's an inside outward explosion.
Vern would turn back into the church and look for the gentleman who ran in and gave the
Fat guy.
Yeah, the fat guy. The fat guy's
Chonky.
inside. Yeah, chonky.
That's so rude.
It's called
Sorry.
Liam.
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 I didn't catch his name the first time around, but
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the alleyway is pretty uneventful there then.
Pretty eventful there. Yes, there is trash everywhere. Couple of rats. Much.
Nobody's been through there recently then.
No.
Okay. So I'd be making my way to the front of the building,
Okay.
surveying the area, and then probably heading back in as well.
Okie dokie.
Vern would wait for the other two to come in because this is something they all need to be there for, and he's the immediate information source. So once they're all there, she would basically be like, "Tell me what happened."
People with lots of cybernetics. They had they got arms, metal arms. They got lots of metal arms, and other parts that were metal, and they just entered the pub, and they said he sends his regards, and then they open up their chest, and you see a timer inside of their chest, and I run out as far as possible.
Suicide bomber.
And last thing I heard from them was, oh God, what did he say? Oh God, my head is exploding now. Oh God, what?
Can we give him one of our special pills, or no?
You can administrate some sort of calmant, probably some sort of basic tablets.
I leave that to maybe Brandon can help you.
Can I just do because he's experts in emergency triage, just to see if he's under shell shock or if he's affected in any other sort of.
He is clearly shell shock and in under severe stress.
Right. Do I have anything in my medical kit that could, just calm him down a bit to be a bit more cohesive?
Like a mild sedative or something.
Yeah, you have some sort of mild sedative. Also, you can probably work with him on his breathe in and breathe out, try to calm him down. So basic techniques of anti-panic and other things like that.
Yeah, I'll load up a mild sedative or anti-anxiety pill into my air hypo and just go for his neck to just calm him down.
Okay. After 5 minutes in which he started to get back on his himself, he started to calm down a little bit. That guy that inside said the divine enlightenment is coming. And then I just had to run out because I knew what the others, I don't know, probably they're dead, and he started to cry. This giant dude sits on a pew of the church, starts to cry, Are they dead?
We'll go check out and see if anybody else made it out. She would turn to Jakob and nod at him. We should probably take a look around before other eyes become involved.
Agreed.
Okay.
Would the cameras have survived?
The cameras have survived, yes.
Then I would immediately check those
All right.
Okay.
when we get there.
The Sister Elizabeth, is back on her feet. She leads you to the other room that has all the screens to check, and with very quick uh, checks on the terminal that controls the camera, you can rewind the last 10 minutes, and the the footage shows two large individual wearing a trench coat that is clearly way too small for them, for what they have under, probably all the cybernetics they are actually carrying on them, entering the pub, and after seconds you see the fat guy Liam getting out of the building, running towards the church, and then the explosion. That's what you see from the footage of the front cameras.
So nothing that would tell us who they are, where they would come from, that sort of thing.
They were coming from the corner of where number 8 on the building is.
Right. So there's no like distinguishing marks on any of their clothing.
No.
They've got no.
The thing
No way of telling who they would have been working for or anything like that.
No, the only thing you are pretty sure about is that they were not from Slaughterhouse, because Slaughterhouse usually are very distincted in the colors of that they wear, and on the symbols they wear, and
And
these were
suicide bombers aren't their MO.
yeah,
Yeah,
and the
that's
suicide
not their
bombing is
thing.
not their MO.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, they prefer to cut things, not to explode things, because there's no
Yeah, this
pleasure in
is
exploding.
So this is
this
unrelated.
is fanatical. Yeah, this is fanatical. Out of curiosity, we can somehow manipulate the data, copy the data, and potentially bring it back to Omega to try to do some kind of facial recognition or
Yeah.
database scan to see.
For Jakub, it's pretty easy to just download the file on a disk, on a pen drive or whatever he's using, and just store it for himself. Yes.
Cool.
I would think Vern would try to. I'm assuming the bar is smoke, rubble, fire still.
Yes.
Things on fire still. How's the bar itself? How's the actual counter? Is the counter destroyed?
Is the oak counter okay?
It is. It's gonna be okay. It's only a scratch. It's only a flesh wound. No. The inside of the pub is absolutely shattered.
Right. Is there anything outside of like the sort of the dangerous areas, what with the fire and everything, that we could notice any body parts?
Yeah.
Any
Sadly,
cybernetics, anything like that?
Sadly, you see body parts.
Right. Anything? Any distinguishing marks, tattoos, etc.
Not really, because yes, you see body parts, but they're
charred.
They're charred or indistinguishable at the moment.
Are there any cybernetics that are intact, maybe that we could pick up and run numbers on? Anything? Or is it just shells?
You probably should be waiting a little bit at the fire dies off. You can start to hear the sirens that are approaching for the fire engine. But can you have, please, all an awareness check with a 5 penalty? Actually, yes, with a 5
Find
penalty,
where it
yes.
is. There it is. -5. Ain't no bad.
Wow.
Were you with Jakob with the rolls?
I'm
Where is
observant. What can I say?
awareness again?
Intelligence.
Awareness is under intelligence. And to answer Parky, which was worried about the booze, most of the booze is burning off right now.
I mean, it's flammable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
kind of flammable. Right.
So I notice.
Yeah, Jakub and partially Vern, you notice that where the counter was, there's also a metal plaque on the floor,
Okay, and
like a trapdoor,
how big?
like a
Oh,
trapdoor.
can we get
But
to
at
it?
the moment, with all this fire, it is almost impossible to get access to it.
So
would
what I
it?
think.
Yes,
Sorry,
Vern,
no. I just
No,
would it
carry
be
on.
prudent for us to stick around while authorities are potentially going to
probably
show up? I
yes,
mean, we're nobody.
probably yes, yes.
Okay.
What I was going to say was, can we call this in to Omega and say, we need the scene of this crime to be less tampered with by official
Uh,
people,
More than likely in the
That's a good
van,
question.
and we
more
can
than likely
get.
in the van, Jakub. Uh,
Hmm.
there might be a way to contact
Yeah,
Omega from
and
there.
so what my thinking is to get somebody from Omega to come along and say, "Hey, we're locking this down,"
Yeah,
Uh,
potentially could be
so
done.
that the normal authorities can't take any evidence away.
Yes. So yeah,
Potentially, could they give us lead on this, like that they'll defer to us, or let us do what we need to do without them interfering?
okay. Well, yes, you can try to contact Omega. You need to still access the van.
Okay.
The
Let's
back
do that
door
then.
of the van has the
Yeah.
same type of key access of your private lift.
Do what our cards work.
Yes.
All right. I think the individual with the biggest card should try.
Excuse me.
Clearly, the individual with the biggest card, because
They're all the
everything
same size.
you carry is biggest.
Oh
No.
my god.
Brandon
Just
pulls
go.
out his card. And, no.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
By all means.
Go ahead.
Uh, you you slide you insert the card sorry into the back door of the van. It opens, and inside you see a lot of tech. There is scanning techs, there is surveillance tech, there is terminals. Uh, it is basically heavens for you, Jakub. And you look around by trying to find a way to contact.
I contain my joy and look around.
Yeah, you basically like the Terminator 2 scenes when Arnie finds the hidden cache of weapons. A big smile appears in your face.
I'm like a kid in a candy shop.
Exactly. With a quick scanning around of the van itself, your eyes drops on uh, a machine, a scanner that can create uh, fake documents.
Hmm. Then I forged me some fake documents to say that we have clearance to
Yeah, I mean it is pretty easy.
take over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you basically you realize that they gave you all the tools that you might need on the field.
Right.
I
Okay,
think
well, yeah. As I said, in that case,
you start to
I'll
you
make
start
some,
to
I'll make
forge
some, forge
documents.
some kind of document to say, "Hey, we're taking over the investigation once the fire's out."
Okay. Um, you
Can we
also
get advantage on the
realize
forgery roll?
that there is no way inside the van to actually contact Omega.
Okay. Well, at least I have forgery then.
Yes.
So we're basically winging this.
You're
I'm
basically
for-
winging.
I'm-
You're on your own.
I've got forgery. It's good.
We're good.
We're
You're
good.
good. We're good. Yeah. Do 3 checks. One for yourself, one
Okay.
for Vern, and one for Brandon. Of forgery.
Any advantage or disadvantage on it?
You have an advantage of 5.
So modifier 5 on
Yes.
each of them.
Yes.
Okay, one for me. That's not bad.
God
Yep.
damn.
God damn.
It's the big one.
One for Vern. Even better.
Oh! Wow.
Watch, he comes
And
to
one
two.
for Brandon.
Oh dear God. It is still very credible. It is still very credible.
Not
Feel like
bad.
we're in Supernatural. I'm Officer Scully.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Agent Scully. This is Mulder.
Cool stuff.
I just turn around and say,
Uh,
child's
basically,
play.
yeah, child's play. Clearly,
Nice work.
your Jakub and Vern documents can be passed in front of higher authorities without batting an eye. The ones made for Brandon can be easily fooling any cops of the area easily. So you should be fine with that. Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
So how
So
do you want?
basically, Vern flashes theirs first.
Yes. So
Yeah.
how do you want to do this, guys?
I guess because mine is slightly more credible. I would try to persuade anyway with the identification that they don't need to pay attention to the other two. We're a squad. This is my team. These are my associates. We'll be detailing the scene of the crime. I just need you to keep away, essentially, and let us do our work. You know, she tries to usher her team in to work without batting an eyelash. Basically.
Okay. So this is the plan. You basically reach the crime scene. You see a couple of while Jacobo was of course forging the documents and accessing the software and everything else to do the identification. Um, the fire engine arrived and the cops just arrived. So this is the time in which you go out of the van very sneakily.
Quick check on time of day when this is happening now.
It is
For about
currently
2, right?
it is 2 p.m.
Okay.
Uh,
Now, the area is, I mean, we've already established the area is quite abandoned now. Obviously, the
yes.
bomb would have people fleeing and away. So essentially, it's us, whoever risks coming out of the church, and the authorities, as well as fire department.
Yes.
Yeah, we could get the authorities that have shown up to cordon the area off, right?
Yes, exactly. The authorities are actually fencing it off.
Cool.
The building at number 7, the one just next to it, he's damaged severely. But by your initial research of the area, basically that was an apartment block that was inhabited by normal families, but punks basically scared them away, and it was just basically it was like Mos Eisley, a place
A
where
squatter's den.
yes, squatters
The
that
wretched
were.
hive of scum and villainy.
That's exactly
I
what I
get
was
it.
going for. Hive of Coven Villain.
Always a Star Wars reference.
There has to be one at least in every session. Um, so that's been quite damaged, and the walls are quite singed as well. So glasses are shattered as well in there. But the
Any
fencing,
fatalities?
sorry,
Any fatalities?
uh, You can't tell from here. Probably, but in your head
Irrelevant.
it says, well, punks.
Mm.
So you don't really care that much.
Could we
Yeah,
just
irrelevant.
send the? Yeah, it's irrelevant to our case, but would it potentially keep the other officers busy somewhere else?
Yeah, technically yes. Yes, you can potentially send.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah, we
since you
send
are
them
the
to
one,
check out the wounded and whatnot.
yeah, since you are the one talking, then I will need an oratory check with a +5.
Oratory. Where
boy.
are we?
Cool skills.
Cool skill.
Don't fuck this up. Would persuasion and fast talk be better for?
Oh,
Is a
for fuck's sake!
is a +5.
Oh, you did that wrong. You put
Wait.
a +5 in. You just put 5. You don't put plus.
Oh, I got you. Oh, wait.
Okay. The wise. Wow.
This is gonna be bad.
It created a negative.
Okay.
Thing.
Cool.
Not the best.
Not the best, but your
I mean, you did
documents.
kind of roll a 1.
Yeah. Your role and your fake documents kinda average out, and you are quite credible in what you're saying. So go on and say what you want to say.
Given Vern's gruff personality, anyway, you can
Yes.
keep it short and sweet. I'm gonna need this area cleared. Watch the perimeter. Please check the building next door for us. I don't want to be. And wave the team in. Just wave my team in.
You see a little bit of embarrassment, but between the two cops that probably never saw you, and you're showing their department badge. But they look a little bit puzzled, but they look at each other and said, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Guys, let's go and check there. Let's go and check there.
It's above their pay grade anyway.
Yes, it is. But basically, they are the grunts, the ones that do the ground jobs on the crime scenes. The fire engine actually did quite a quick work, and almost all the fire and the smoke is setting off at the moment. And you see the absolute devastation of the inside of the pub. So what you doing?
Well,
I would defer to them too. Yeah, well, I would also defer to the two of them to take stock of any potential evidence immediately that they can, while she just peruses around to see if there's any identifying markers, particularly the bar owner.
Okay.
Or the bartender. She doesn't.
So you look around and you see charred bodies, or what is left of them. Most of it is unidentifiable. You see a couple of medium grade arms, cybernetics, quite devastated of the explosion. But what strikes a little bit more of the attention to you is that at the back, where there used to be the community room, of course there's no walls anymore in there, you see what looks like to be the half charred body of one of the guys that entered in the pub and created the explosion. I say half charred because the amount of metal that this person had almost replaced entirely his body. There were bits and bobs of flesh left, but it sustained an extensive body modification with cybernetics.
So I would immediately be checking out exactly what he's got.
Yes.
In terms of cyberware.
Yes.
To see if there's anything I can
yes.
get from it, you know.
you can plug in your terminal, your portable terminal. You have a portable terminal, isn't it? Or
I
not?
believe so.
Yes. You probably grabbed one from the van.
Yeah, I don't actually have one normally, but
Okay.
sure, from
Yeah.
the van, why
From
not?
the van, yes. It sounds plausible. Let me double check one thing. And
It is a surveillance van, so technically
yes,
Yeah.
you have stuff in there, stuff and things. Uh,
stuff and things.
tac. Uh, yes. Can you do an electronics check with a bonus of 5? It is an easy task for you.
What exactly am I checking on? Because I do have. No, it's not going to be a card lock on anything, is it? So that's irrelevant.
You're
All right.
basically trying to check the if there is any serial number.
Right. This is an electronics check
It's an
anyway.
electronics check, yes.
Yeah. With 5.
Yes, for 5, yes.
Got it. It's not bad.
Lost it 1 second. Yes. Um, you you start to input all the different serial numbers of all the body parts, and you obtain a very puzzling result. They're not. There's not a single name that is equal is the same from the others. Each of the body part that this person has come from different people. They are
They
registered to different person.
they're sort of they're second hand, shall we say?
Yeah, all of them. Second
What
hand
about
and
the?
repurposed.
Okay. Um, who do the legs belong to?
The legs the legs don't belong to the victim.
Okay.
Just in case. Oh, we found the legs.
Okay.
He's here. No, they don't
Mm.
belong to the.
Would I be able to tell that they were from what did you say it was? Slaughterhouse?
The slaughterhouse. No, this guy uh, are clearly not slaughterhouse. They
But
don't.
the parts, I mean.
The part comes from normal citizens.
Right. So they've been stripped from other people
Yes,
separately to the other group.
yes, precisely. So
Right.
somebody I've given to a surgeon these body parts, and the surgeon that operated on this individual that you have in front of you got all this mix and mash of body parts to modify himself.
Have there been any other modifications made to any individual part?
Yes, the chest cavity that was half cybernetic and half flesh, which of course now doesn't exist anymore, has been modified to host the bomb.
Okay, and is there any residue or any remnant of the bomb?
A couple of wires, but that's about it. It was a highly compacted C4 type of.
So nothing useful then.
No,
Okay.
Brandon, you see that Jacob is looking at the body, and in your head you do a little bit of calculation in your head, and you think that with that much cybernetics, this person was clearly under the effect of cyberpsychosis.
I think I
That
would have been able to tell that as well.
yeah, but he was at the other side of the room and you were there, of
Right.
course. But you both understand that this guy clearly wasn't himself when he walked in, and probably never been after the surgery. He probably wasn't expendable.
So if he was under the if he was under psychosis, was
Yes.
he sent there or was he did he just go there?
You can't tell from here.
So there's nothing
There's
in
nothing
any of
that.
his cyberware that would tell me.
No, but uh, he might have been drugged and basically forced to go in there. yeah, mind modification drugs that make you more compliant to orders.
Okay. Brandon?
You can analyze more if you want, Brandon.
I mean, we've got the serial numbers for the cybernetic parts,
Yes.
right? So we can check to see who they're registered with and try to draw some correlations in investigation later back at HQ.
Yes.
It's hard to get. Yeah, he turns to Jakob and says it's hard to find motivation from a corpse. So we're gonna have to find out where these parts were registered to, any connecting feature, why these people would potentially be
Well,
harvested.
we do have the final words of one of the bombers, the fanatic rhetoric from that church, that following, right?
Yes.
You said the divine
Divine
something or other?
divine alignment is coming.
Enlightenment. Yeah. So that gives us plenty of motivation for right now. I think we know exactly where these guys came from. We just need to start connecting the dots with people's pieces who have gone missing.
Still,
It was gross.
yeah, still, there is one last details. There's still the trapdoor on the floor.
I was just going to say, while they're milling about through that, Vern would have sidestepped in and around bodies and charred bar parts to inspect the hatch, see if it's a keypad or any sort of electronic, lock on it, or if it's just a standard, lift.
It is a standard trapdoor, and it looks singed by the blaster. There is no body part behind the counter. So probably the owner managed to escape in time.
Into the trapdoor.
Yes.
So I
Kind of locks it go.
It is not locked. You can just lift it.
Okay.
guess we're going on an adventure, guys.
So you open it. Who opens it? You open it.
Uh,
Well, should it?
I'll open it since I was there, and
And I'll make my way over
take a
to
peek.
it.
Okay.
There you go. Take a peek.
You take a peek inside. You put your head down, and you see a small pit room with a ladder going down. It's probably 5 feet the ladder. So actually 6 feet down, 6 feet under. And then there is a corridor off this square room of the landing that leads towards the building number 5, the bunker. An underground
Alright,
tunnel.
so an escape route.
Yes. And yes.
Was this building also did you say a shooting range or whatever at
Number
some point
5,
in time too?
yes, is now a shooting range. Before was a bunker.
Okay.
Then I suggest we immediately make sure our weapons are loaded.
Cool.
Who wants to go first?
Whoever's the most heavily armored.
Yeah,
May.
probably you.
In
Yeah.
you go.
Ladies first.
And with this note, we're gonna end tonight.
Ah.
That's the end for tonight. Suspense.
Thank you,
The
Wochi.
cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Well, you roll the dice, you shoot things, you forged, you talked. I think it was a prolific
Hey, I
night.
got some damn good rolls.
Yes, you got some
You
good
did.
roll.
No, productive all around. We didn't get murdered within the first, hour.
Yeah, cool.
By my
That's-
rather not smooth.
Absolutely. And I mean, I hope everybody watching enjoyed this. and I thank you, my players, Smirk, Cynic Chris, and Cross Terminal. Of course, do not forget to follow them on Twitch and on Twitter if you can. And thank you for modding the chat, Parky. Always much appreciated all the job you do. And we will see next week, same time, same day, for episode number 3. This episode is going to be also available on YouTube in probably 24 to 36 hours, roughly. It's the period of grace for Twitch to hold content. And I'm going to see if I can send a raid to somebody to keep the flow. And actually, there is Ross streaming. So let me see if he's still streaming. And what he's streaming is playing Days Gone. So
Yeah, he's still going.
let's send him a raid then. Where is he? Where is he? There we go. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much for being awesome
Thank you,
players.
Woj.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
And I will see you tomorrow for my regulars stream and next week for Cyberpunk. Until then, everybody have a good night and bye.